Grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B. I am a son of an all-powerful and all-loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships living in the miracle of recovery. I'm grateful to be here. The miracle of technology has Nikki and I together from who knows how many, couple thousand miles apart possibly. She's in Toronto, I'm in Spokane, Washington, and it's just a beautiful thing to be able to do this. Nikki, take a minute and introduce yourself, please.
Well, howdy, everybody, and hello, bienvenue, wherever you are in the country. Hola. Oh, God, I know so many more. Vanakkam. I try and learn one word in every language. I worked in a kitchen, and I worked with a beautiful community of people from Sri Lanka, and they spoke Tamil, and I would just always whip out one word, and they would just be so impressed. So, everybody, I'm here just on this journey of learning what it means to be a human living in this spiritual experience daily, trying to tap this power. Love you.
Bună ziua, Nikki. There's some Romanian for you too. So very good. All right. So we're grateful to be sitting here talking about, well, noodling out everyday questions that we have, that people in our fellowships have, that people we work with have, that we just bring to the big book as Nikki runs through there at light speed, going through different pages that just get my mind going crazy. But I love chasing it around and going, oh, that's where that comes from. And it's really helpful to me. And that's what we do in this Noodle It Out with Nikki podcast. And if you out there are feeling a nudging from your higher power to help support Rico 12 and what we're doing, jump into the podcast show notes. Click on the link to donate, and we're just grateful for any donations that come in. It really helps us keep the lights on and continuing to share this message of hope to anyone, anywhere who is in need. All right, Nikki, today I've got a question that came in through the Noodle It Out with Nikki chat, the WhatsApp group. And this is one that I think it was a while ago that it came in, but we're addressing it now. Says, I have an upcoming medical procedure and I have a lot of fear surrounding this. How can I work spiritual principles to live through this fear and even thrive?
Is that it? Yeah. Okay. Well, then
Yep.
let's just, cool. Let's get in there. Like, how can I, well, number one, I heard step 12, work spiritual principles. We practice these principles in all our affairs, even when we have a medical procedure coming up, even when we, not just in the rooms, everybody, even when we have an interview coming up, even when we're going through a divorce and we have to go to court. Like, you see, like, this is the thing, like, I have a medical procedure. Okay, well, I have this coming up. I have an exam, says the student. I have, all these things, and it's fear. Like, it's either fear or faith, but I want to go here where it says, on the doctor's opinion, XXVII, it says men and women think, the bottom paragraph, XXVII, the doctor's opinion. We think, not just drink, we think, because that's what you're in, the obsession. You start to think about this medical procedure because you like the effect. What do you mean I like the effect of being in fear, Nikki? Well, yeah, you like the effect produced, or you wouldn't do it. What is producing this thinking? It produces some worry. It produces this feeling that you're used to, that addict life, because you're going to read little further, is you're only to them, to this person who's in fear. Your addict life is your only normal one. So you're getting restless, irritable, and discontented because you're blotting out your consciousness with fear. Why? Because you cannot, after a time, differentiate the true from the false. You're forgetting. See, this is why we only have a daily reprieve. The book says, I think it's on page 85, you have a daily reprieve contingent. And I think if this is from the Noodle chat, I think I know this person. They're very spiritually fit. They work a 12-step program, but it's a daily reprieve, only daily. And so now this person, coming up this surgery and, a lot of things like I've seen men face wars, but I used to be a dental assistant. Have you ever seen a soldier sit down in a dental chair afraid of a dentist because he has a toothache, but they'll go out into battle, Navy SEAL. You understand, like our fears vary. Remember, our behavior patterns vary. Page 22, our behavior patterns vary. So now this person, we're on doctor's opinion, right? Their addict life is their only normal one. They can't differentiate the true from the false. They get a daily reprieve. They're getting restless, irritable. They're getting real scared. Why? Go to page 24 here. It says, page 24, bottom paragraph. It says, when this sort of thinking, see, this is a thinking problem. Remember, previous page, if you're a Noodle follower, if you're a Big Book follower, on page 23, it says it centers in our mind. So this fear is in the mind, okay? And this is even sober. This is just whatever. It's right here. This sort of thinking is established in an individual with alcoholic tendencies. See, we all, even Justin, I love Justin B's story, everybody. If you're new, Justin's never had a drink, never. And he has alcoholic tendencies. So Justin, this beautiful spirit, a human or spearhead that wrote in, who has fear for a medical procedure. You've placed yourself beyond human aid. So now here's the battlefield in your mind, right? The battlefield in your mind. Page 25 says, we're just rolling our eyes around here. You've placed yourself beyond human aid. We're now rolling up to page 25. So many want to stop, but cannot. Stop what? Stop thinking about this fear. Stop thinking about this fear. So there is a solution. Remember, there's a solution. That's what the book says. Now we're just rolling along page 25. There's a solution for your fear, not just for your alcohol, not just for your love addiction, not for the food. This is for your fear. It requires, right? Successful consummation, which means what? You have to self-search. You have to level your pride. You have to confess your shortcomings. You're not relying on the process. You're not relying on God, right? And there's nothing left right now for you because fear is all consuming. So let's all go to what you do when you have fear, because everybody knows page 67. Let's go. This is where it lives. Bottom paragraph, notice the word fear. I'm in fear right now. If you're tuning in, it's 2024. I asked my friend Justin when we got on, I know you're having a big election in America coming in. He said, Nikki, I don't even know what's going on. He does better than me. He lives on page, doesn't mean he is better. He's doing better in this area on page 132. He is not indulging in the cynicism over the state of the nations. He is not indulging. Nikki M is scrolling her life away, indulging.
And I want to jump in on that here real quick,
Please.
and then we'll come back. The reason why I'm not is because it's not because I'm better than, it's because I'm not strong enough. If I get in there, I will spiral into insanity and death and just bring not only myself down, I'll bring my family down, I'll bring my community down, because that's how insane I am when I get involved, when I get caught up in the news, in the calamities of the world. It just destroys me and everybody around me. So I have to step back and say, I can't do that, and trust that God will provide what I need and what is most important. And that's one area that is really vital for my own serenity. So now let's go back to this fear, because I have lots of other fears that I want to have addressed and looked at here. Thanks, Nikki.
Oh God, I need to hear that too, my brother, because it's like I heard you say right now, Nikki, I made a decision, a step 3 decision, that not only all these other addictions I'm not going to mess with, but this is a decision that I don't even play with social media or the news or anything around that. And I love that because I'm still not willing. So I need to go, hey, everybody, real quick, side note, Nikki needs to live on page 76 and ask God for the willingness to quit looking at these things. So thank you. But we're now on page 67, which says, notice the word fear. See, this short word, what short word, Nikki? Fear touches, and I'm going to skip some words here. Touches, it just says about, but I'm not going to look at that word. It touches every aspect of Nikki's life. See, it's evil. Just stop there. It's evil. Fear is evil. Like, oh, it's not helpful. No, it's evil. Right? And the fabric of our existence is shot through with it. Good, bad, light, dark, self, God. It's that black and white. God is everything or God is nothing. What's it? Fear sets in motion trains of circumstances, which brought Nikki, Justin, our friend who's having this medical procedure, misfortune that we felt. There's that feeling. We feel lies, can't differentiate the true from the false, driven by 100 forms of self-pity, fear that I don't deserve. But did Nikki, Justin, and our friend who's having the medical procedure not set the ball rolling? See, if this person probably dropped to their knees, woke up, God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me. God, use me. I'm yours. This day is all for you. Just this day. Why am I tripping about a procedure that's happening next week? Oh, God, am I doing the next right thing? Did I call the doctor? Did I get a driver? Do I have everything lined up? Do I have my aftercare? See, if I take action, page 88, if I remain disciplined, this fear will disappear. But I'm not disciplined. I'm just sitting here nursing thoughts. I'm nursing thoughts. I'm drinking and nursing thoughts at the bar about they're going to kill me, medical malpractice. My kids won't have me. You see? There we go. Sometimes we're rolling on to page 68. Sometimes that's all of us, think fear ought to be classified with stealing. That is stealing the moment right here. I waste decades. We read on page 66 a long time ago that I squandered the hours. Nikki squandered 2 full decades. That's 20 years in fear. Justin, I had paralyzed stress-induced anxiety. I couldn't drive when my daughter went to university. I was like, oh, I'm just a little depressed. No, I was in mad fear. It was crazy. Not even realizing that's part of my love addiction. She left and I'm like out of my mind. What do I do? What do I grab onto? I'm not working a program. There is no God. I couldn't drive. And oh, everybody, I'm from Orange County, California. You need to drive. Not in Toronto. There's a big Toronto transit system and I've got my bike. Are you thoroughly reviewing your fears? Because if you live in your will, all your fears will come true. Let's go deep on this. I did a thorough step 4. Okay, and it says we put our fears on paper. We review them thoroughly. Here it is. Where am I at fault? Where am I to blame? Even though I have no connection in them, right? It says we review our fears thoroughly. We put them on paper, even though we had no resentment and connection. We ask ourselves why we have them. That's on page 68. Wasn't it because self-reliance fails me? So I did this. And let me tell you something. We're going to do a fears right now, Justin. I'm going to tell you something. It showed up like this. Nikki, you're arrogant. You think you know more than God and you hate yourself. So if you show up in life like that, all your fears are going to come true. Nikki, you're rude to yourself, to God, to other people. All your fears are going to come true. Nikki, you show up suspicious and distrusting about everything. All your fears will come true. You covet. You're selfish, you're self-seeking, you're dishonest, you lie, you exaggerate, you're intolerant, you're greedy. Nikki, you're lustful, you're hateful. Nikki, you're lazy and you procrastinate. Nikki, you're impatient. Nikki, you're irresponsible, you blame, you martyr, you bully people, Nikki, with your speaking. You have vulgar talk, immoral thinking, and you gossip and slander. Now, Nikki, if you show up for life in your defects, do you think all your fears are going to come true, madam? Yes. Justin, if you show up in all your defects, Are all your fears going to come true? Talk to me about that real quick.
That, yes. And that just kicked me in the teeth when you said, if I live in my will, all of my fears will come true. If I live in those character defects, all of my fears will come true. The flip side of that is if I live in God's will, if I live in my character, in the antidotes to those character defects, my dreams, what are the my dreams will come true. Beyond my dreams will come true, because not my plans and designs, but God's plans and designs will come to fruition. And that is such a stark contrast. Now, I think that my dreams are way better than anything else, but man, those are my little plans and designs that actually are fueled by fear in most cases. I want those because I don't want the things that I fear. And man, there's so much to that. And my brain is trying to wrap around that, because living in my will, all of my fears will come true. And just this morning, Nikki, I was pondering on some fears that I have about today that are coming around in my work life, in my professional life. And I'm sitting here going, well, if this works out this way, I'll probably lose my job. I'll probably, lose any semblance of financial freedom that I have. And those fears, if I live in those fears, come true. So I've got to go through this fear inventory, give it to God, and let God direct. Any additional thoughts on that, Nick?
Amen. Yesterday I had seen a friend, Sarah B. She is God, I think she's episode 7, 8, something like that. Okay. I hadn't seen her for a while. She does, if you guys are part of my spiritual gang, well, our spiritual gangster crew, not mine, ours and Noodle, you will know Sarah B from years gone by, but you'll also know her Monday night code. She started a Monday night CODA meeting for women only online Zoom. It had 120 women coming out every week when we were in the height of Zoom. And I'm going to tell you something. I saw her yesterday for the first time, and I was telling her about some miracles, and she goes, well, Nikki, I don't manifest. And I said, no, this isn't manifesting. This is the power of my magic magnifying mind. And it appeared. I think I talked about it a few weeks ago on Noodle, my hot tub, first world problems. I needed a pool strainer, blah, blah, blah. It showed up at midnight on one of the busiest streets in Toronto, a pool strainer that was broken, sitting there. I needed hair product. Walking home one night, curly hair. I have curly hair, product, all natural, because I don't like to use all that chemical stuff. Sitting there free. And when I was sharing this with my spirit friends, they're like, oh my God, this is radical. My non-spirit friend, she's a great girl, but she's like, you better test that on your skin before your hair falls out. Because this is her mind thinking, like, fear and scariness. And we're just like, this is miracles and no, I didn't sit here, law of attraction. We're not talking these things. I'm talking, I just thought and knew God would do for me. That's all. So let's go deeper. If you live in your defects, I love you enough, everybody listening, to tell you, I'm going to die. My kids are going to die. I'm going to have no money. I'm going to get fat. I'm going to get old. No one's going to love me. That's going to happen if you continually think on these things. But if I think about this, let's go deep here. I have a Father who loves me more than anything. I got to get humble and follow this instructions. I can't live in fear. It's not going to happen. How about if I get responsible and accept, Nikki, this is exactly the way God wants it. You just need to do the next right thing. How can I have fear? How about if I get responsible? Nikki, you are making a decision to trust God. Like, this is blind faith. That's right. Why don't you think on how God's always been there rather than think on negative things? Why don't you think on how God showed up when you were in the depths of insanity and God lifted you up and rose you to glory? Why don't you think about generosity and serving people rather than yourself? Like, why don't you get responsible and get kind in your thoughts, not just towards yourself, but towards other people? Why don't you get really honest and go, nothing has really ever hurt you, Nikki. Like, God's always been there. Yeah, but I didn't meet my dad till I was 18. I didn't have a daddy, but God was your dad. God gave you some amazing stepfathers. God kept your mom safe. God gave you a house in California. You were a cheerleader with a 4-bedroom pool and a jacuzzi and a hot tub. God was always there. What, because you didn't know your biological father? You awake, Nikki? God gave you a stepdad, and you have the most amazing brothers and sisters. And then when you did meet your dad, You have 6 brothers and sisters. One is moving to Canada from Dominica at the end of this month. See, God's plan was better than mine. Go deeper. God only has 3 answers, Justin. Yes, Justin. Not now, Justin. I have something better for you, Justin. God never says no. How is your powerful, loving God? Why are you in fear? It says this is the creator of the universe. This is a loving, all-powerful God. It says that God will do for you. These are the thoughts. Page 80, your thought life. Your thought life. So let's go deeper. Page 68. Perhaps there's a better way, everyone. We know so. See, I know so. God has showed up so many times, but I'm sitting here thinking about, I am not married today. Because that's my obsession, always, especially when things go rough. I need a husband, quickly. Hot tub's not working, quickly. I'm lonely, quickly. But when I'm in Luxembourg, or when I do have somebody to serve me, when my son's over here, it's never good enough. I need something else. It's never good enough. I'm the disease of more me, more self. But I'm on a different basis now, Nikki, and you forget that. See, Nikki, you're on a different basis. Person who called in about fear, about your medical procedure, you're on a different basis. You are on the basis of trusting and relying upon God. You are on the basis of trusting and relying upon humility, being responsible, being a humble, trusting servant of this power called agape love. You are on the basis of being tolerant, accepting, of paying back, having restitution, getting radically honest, of loving and forgiving. Oh, how about getting active and getting out of bed and making your bed soldier, showing up on time 5 minutes early, Nikki, because you're active and you're zealous and you're prompt and you're patient and you're patient and you're patient. But I've been waiting for years, God, waiting for Nikki. God doesn't know time. God, you're in the world to play the role God assigns. You trust an infinite God rather than your finite self. Finite, there is no time, infinite time. You are in the world to play the role God assigns. Mr. I'm in fear of my medical procedure. See, all men, all women of faith have courage. They trust their God. We never apologize for God. So here's your instruction instead. Instead of what? Instead of getting in fear, you let God, you let the spiritual principles, you let this power demonstrate through you, Mr. Medical Procedure, what God can do. Full stop. And then you ask God, oh, or does it say call your sponsor 50 million times and liquid shit on the whole entire world? You ask God to remove your fear and direct your attention, your thoughts, your thought life to what God would have you be. See at once, fast. You commence, you start to outgrow fear. This is so radical, Justin. This is so, that's why most people don't make it. That's why we see mediocre rooms, we see mediocre recovery. And that's why I'm just reading it overwhelmed, but going, you know what, Nikki? You can do this. You can do this, girl. You can do this, cowgirl, even though I'm not a cowgirl. You can do this, partner.
Thank you, Nikki. And as you were sharing, there was one more passage that came, and I think I'll close out with this passage from page 63 of the big book. Everybody, here it is, top of page 63, top paragraph. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of His presence, of God's presence, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. We were reborn. If I can live without fear today, tomorrow, whatever happens when and after I die, it doesn't matter. I can live in today being a servant, a spearhead, an agent of the most powerful being in the universe. And that can bring me peace when I am not so focused on me, when I'm focused on what God wants me to do for others. So anyways, guys, this has been powerful. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nikki. Keep coming back, everybody. Come all the way in, sit all the way down, stay, work it. You are worth it.